you, Chair Jackson. You're live and good to go.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for joining the Township of Cavan Monaghan Millbrook Valley Trails Advisory Committee on Monday, April 27th, 2026. I call this meeting to order. I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Cavan Monaghan is located on the Treaty 20 Mishigi-Sagag territory, the traditional territory of the Mishigi-Sagag Shinnebank. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care and teachings about these lands. May we go on to these teachings. Moving on, item 3, approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add, omit? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? John? Seconded by Griffin. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, minutes of the meeting held March 23rd. John?
I'd like to suggest change the wording regarding the explore option in the work plan. And we had a discussion about linking to the trails as proposed in the master plan, and it refers to the Ganaraska Conservation Authority trails. And so I'd just like it to reflect that the conversation was about the linkage to the other trails as opposed to the Ganaraska Conservation Trails.
To the committee through Chair Jackson, just to comment on this, yeah, I think I misrepresented things a little bit in the work plan. I'm gonna update the work plan. It shouldn't require any amendment to the minutes because the minutes just strictly records the decisions of the committee. You'll notice I don't record any conversations because that's what we're legislatively just required to record the decision. So the minutes can be approved as presented, but I will update the work plan to accurately reflect what the committee discussed at the last meeting. Does that sound good?
It's good. So then I'll move them as presented.
Okay, anybody else have any comments? Omissions, additions? No, can I have a motion to receive the minutes of the meeting held March 23rd, 2026, please? Saskia, seconded by John, all in favor? Wonderful, thank you. Moving on to item 6, financial report, Chris Allison.
So contracted services at $2,000, about $2,000. Materials and supplies, we have 4,800. There's currently 4,357.34 left. But that number does not reflect the extractor, which was 251.71 all in.
Extractigator.
Got it. Extractor.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Any questions around that? No? Okay, have a motion to receive the financial report, please. Lance, seconded by John, all in favor? Wonderful. Thank you. Moving on, section 6.2, Orca report, Ms. Carter.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Allison picked up your tree seedlings last week, so they are happily stored somewhere.
Or that our yard, yeah.
Excellent.
They're all ready to go.
Perfect.
Water.
Very nice, thank you so much. We do have some extra seedlings for purchase, so I can send out a list of those species if you're interested. Okay.
Not so much for the trails, but for personally. So
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
put that out to everybody after
Thank
the meeting. And I don't think I have anything else to report, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay, just an aside, will the staff bring those seedlings on?
Yeah, we'll load it all.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Meredith? I have a question, Meredith, just as chair. The recent announcement by the provincial government, consolidation of conservation authorities, do you foresee any changes to what we'll have to do on this committee through that, or is it too
No.
early to tell?
No, I don't anticipate any changes, but we'll certainly make you aware if there are.
To the committee, through Chair Jackson, at our last council meeting, Ms. Lovely Smith, the CAO for Orca, did actually have a presentation and they did an overview of some of the changes they're going through, if you ever want to look at it. In terms of how it impacts the committee, Right now, we're revising terms of reference for the committee and we're gonna feature groups and stuff, but I think we'll, if there's any changes to it, it will be brought to the also, so.
Okay. Any questions on that? Anything else? No, thank you very much. I have a motion to receive Ms. Carter's report. John, seconded by Griffin, all in favor? You're all accused. Moving on to section 6.3, trail report, Saskia and Griffin, who would like to go first?
I'll go for it. So I did everything on this side of Zion. So looking at Station Trail, right where the Station Trail intersects with the road that goes up towards the new neighborhood, or the trail that goes up towards the new neighborhood, there's a bunch of gates that are just kind of thrown into the water there that I'm hoping can potentially be removed. They've been there for a while and I've just,
So you, sorry.
I did send
So number one? is
Yeah,
where you're
number
at?
one.
Okay, yeah.
they're just right on that corner there and they're kind of blocking the creek at this point. I mean, I don't know. If they've been there a while, but for a while, they looked like they might have been, someone was doing something with them, but now it's clearly not. The mud around the car, it is what it is. There's the boardwalk that's already been approved that'll be going in that region, hopefully.
So we can
Yeah.
discuss later.
And then the cut through to McGuire, from McGuire Drive to Baxter Creek, that area is the muddiest I've ever seen it. It's,
Yeah.
it's already been partially rerouted, but if we can, I'm just hoping maybe Workday bring in, mulch into that area would be really beneficial, because it's almost unpassable in some areas.
Yeah, okay, it's kind of the age old question, right? I mean, we put some boardwalk there, but the more boardwalk we build, the more we have to maintain, et cetera. Yeah, it's the wettest I've seen it too. I mean, it's always somewhat, but do you think mulch, I'm just worried about the amount of mulch it might take.
Just thinking as a for now solution, I don't
Yeah.
think, like, we have other priorities as far as boardwalk goes, so this would at least make it a little better.
Yeah, and it's a lower impact exercise. I didn't mention that to you this morning, Chris.
Yeah.
But,
We could add it.
well, why don't we discuss it as a committee, during the workday stuff, and we'll put a pin in it, so to speak, yeah. Okay, thank you, Saskia. Sorry.
And yeah, and then onto Baxter Creek on the first corner of the boardwalk, when you first get onto it, I just took a step on the, right on the corner and it just collapsed under me, like it drops a good foot to half a foot, like somewhere in that region. So if we can just add a support in there,
Yeah,
would
sorry.
be a great one. Perfect. And then just extreme amounts of mud, specifically, once it splits off, once you split off from Meds Mountain and then head towards the new boardwalk, between that split and the new boardwalk is awful. It's the worst area by far. It's,
To the floating bridge.
yes, to
Yeah.
the floating bridge. It's completely unpassable. People have like put down sticks and stuff just to make it so you can walk by, but the trails also widen significantly because people are trying to avoid the mud and then the mud just grows out. So I mean, for a short-term solution, we can mulch it, but that's an area that's, I don't remember that in past years being that bad. But an area to bring to point. And then again, it's the same areas we all are familiar with past the new boardwalk as well. You have that region where a bunch of people have kind of cobbled together self-made boardwalks. And it's muddy and a mess there, and I don't know with our new plan if that's something we want to look at in that area, if we want to address with formalized boardwalks or.
So, yeah, that was my question. So 7 is past the floating bridge.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, certainly we've had a very rainy season. I think at the least we could do is on workday is have some people just sort of more formally organize that area. Obviously, if we're gonna be building boardwalk, we need to, go through the proper process first. John?
The people who walk on the trail are you seeing more people there? Like, I guess we could ask Meredith whether you keep track of how outrageous a year it is for rain as opposed to whether it's just more people walking in a regular amount of rain. It's been a wet spring and,
It's been a wet spring. Yeah, and there was a lot of a high snowpack.
yeah,
More so
so
than usual to melt as well.
if it's partially because there's just more people using it, then maybe we gotta think about more boardwalk. I don't know.
Maureen?
Yeah, I would say it is, more people using it. I think what we've had is some nice, warm, sunny days after rainy periods over and over again all spring. And, particularly in the last few days after quite a lot of rain. The trail was really well trodden. There were, whole, big families with many dogs going through. So, one of the things I was thinking, going back and forth there, a couple times, in the last 3 days, there is a lot of wood, usable wood, that was either left by the construction company or is incorporated in portions of boardwalk that are old boardwalk that are jutting out. And I'm wondering if some of that wood could be rescued and moved, to at least do something makeshift in the meantime, because I really don't think that signs that ask people to stay off that portion of the trail is going to work. That area from the T junction on Med to the walk up to the floating bridge is furrowed every year because it's a really heavy runoff on that in that area, but this is the worst I've ever seen it. I mean, one year it was used also as an otter slide, so that was that was a year. But I think beyond that, it's the heavy use. People just are so hungry to get out in the woods. So yeah, the other thing to be aware of is that there is new beaver gnawing in the area. Just one clump that I saw that's absolutely brand new, halfway between the floating bridge and the fairgrounds. Walking the full length from the floating bridge to Zion, there's no sign of a dam at all, but the second pond at the trout ponds is now normal level, so we've got to assume that those beavers are now looking for somewhere else to set up shop. So we'll have to keep our eyes open. But we need something passable so that people aren't losing their footwear in the mud, and they aren't going way off the sides to find footing.
Great thoughts on that? Do we need, John?
I was gonna say, should we be canvassing the people who come out from the workday to see whether anybody would be interested in having a secondary workday where, like, if we're going to have to build some extra boardwalk. You can do quite a bit of boardwalk in a day, but if we've only got one workday, it's it's kind
Well,
of.
so you're saying you think we need more work?
Well, if we decide we're gonna do,
Boardwalk there.
I kind of think, I don't think like, granted it's a wet year, but I think there are just going to be more people using the trails, and there's some areas that never had to be built up that are going to have to be, or it's just going to continue to deteriorate. And I don't know whether
But it would probably exceed, Saskia, the length of boardwalk that we need for Station Trail.
Yeah, in that region, most certainly.
Well over 100 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not straight either. It'd be a little bit of a project.
Yeah.
Dave's good at taking them around corners.
Build the boardwalk around corner?
Yeah.
Not that province.
No, I saw you do it. I couldn't believe.
Yeah, Kirk's good at it too.
We'd certainly have to purchase new materials and obviously go through the process.
Yeah.
I don't know what other people think.
I would be open to a second workday and throughout the summer. I know it's a busy time for everyone, but if there's willing people to
Or
come out.
even in the fall.
Mhm.
Saskia.
I just think we should pick a section and prioritize it. So like maybe do Station Trail just because we have that all set. And then look at maybe this is the next spot that we're like, this is the priority, and we kind of.
Yeah,
work
we're
towards the
hoping to
road.
finish Station Trail on Saturday,
Perfect.
right? So that we've got the materials for that. We certainly would not have the materials to build enough
Yeah.
on this section.
So then,
Like tomorrow, we'd obviously, could order, we need more cedar. If we're gonna get it from Hope, we probably wouldn't get it to the end of summer anyway, because they cut and things, right? But yeah, it could be a priority for the fall.
Yeah, so like even on workday, maybe have someone going out and measuring that section so we can start the application process to be able to build that in the fall. Cause the application doesn't last a year, or the permit is a year once we.
The one we got right now.
Still active this year, so it was in October last year, but yeah, to get another permit, it's just the application doesn't take that.
And start the process, cause then we'll know the length, we'll know what we need to order, we'll know if we can even afford it this year and kind of go through that. Start
Yeah,
that process.
Yeah, I'd like to send some people out there to sort of get it sorted.
We also,
Get look better.
we're also very limited in dates this year too, to set these all out, so. Cause the fall, I think we only have, what, 2 meetings? We don't have anything July, August, our only meeting September in the fall.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, and maybe to Mark. When does the committee officially disband, meaning would we be able to have a work day in October?
Technically, the committee is holding until the end of the term of council, so that would be October 26th, 2026.
Okay.
If the committee wants to have a work day, I would suggest not waiting until October to do it, just use your weather. That would.
Well, maybe early October, I mean, yeah, but certainly, yeah, not past November.
Yeah.
Or not past October 26th. Okay, that's good to know.
We'd have to plan it June, cause then our next meeting after June is September, so.
And
Well, we could plan over,
Yeah.
stuff too, right? I mean, it's not the end of the world, but yeah.
the one thing that you have to be aware of logistically, of course, if the committee needs to approve any spending, you would definitely need to do it by that September meeting.
Yeah,
For any
yeah,
materials and supplies.
Yeah, okay. And I should know this, but when would a new committee be in place? So timing on that, past the election?
So it does depend a little bit on the council schedule, and because they also have to pass a budget, we have to do orientation. Typically, I believe the new committees are approved in the first or second meeting of the year. That's usually late January, early February, and that's when the committee would be in place. Basically, it wouldn't be before the first regularly scheduled meeting of MBT anyways, which is, I think, typically.
February.
Yeah, late January, early February, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I can't make a motion, but maybe I could suggest that we see how far we get on Saturday with what we're trying to do on Station Trail. That is the priority. We have an open permit to do that. I hope we get it done. If we don't, then maybe we need to look at a potential workday to finish that, given that we only have till October till the permit closes. But I think we can revisit it, certainly at the next meeting or maybe even before, and start to get our ducks in a row. Does that make sense to everyone? And I think maybe as many of us as we can, either at workday or before or shortly after, could get out there and see for ourselves. We're gonna get another couple days of heavy rain here, it was supposed to rain right up till basically Saturday, isn't it? Off and on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
We could see how it's faring, right? It probably,
Wear boots.
yeah, it's probably a bit better today, but it's probably gonna get worse over the next few days, so. It was still quite bad today.
Pretty wet.
Still,
Yeah.
okay.
So just in terms of this extra boardwalk, we're talking about just the really muddy areas that exist right now where I'm just not sure, is there a plan to replace some of the aged and broken boardwalk that's between the floating bridge and the fairgrounds entrance? That.
So we did add the piece on Baxter Creek to our permit that you gave us last year. So
That's
that
on
piece
this,
is on.
that's on this side of the floating
Yeah,
bridge, so
there's
that's
that.
not the area.
So that's on there too. There's 21 feet there.
Yeah.
That is on the permit along with.
And that's the workday project as well.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, you're talking specifically past the floating bridge between that and the fairgrounds bridge.
Yeah, and then for
It wasn't replaced.
the areas that Saskia identified, are they in that stretch
Yeah.
as well? Okay, so it's, right, so then there was some like ATV type damage from when the new boardwalk got built that's created muddy spots
Yeah,
as well. And
Fair.
that's probably why it's so muddy right now, plus the heavy rains.
And then there are several sections, including the picture of 7 that Saskia sent, where someone or some people have just lifted up and moved
Yeah.
bits of boardwalk random places
yeah.
Yeah,
and thrown them off to the side. And they all ultimately need replacing,
Right.
but just for a Band-Aid job, just putting them back in place will
Yeah,
help.
I guess I wonder if that was part of this discussion, to replace some of those really old crumbling ones that are in that side.
I think it should all be a part, so we should identify what areas
Quite a lot.
need replacing and or new boardwalk, right?
Yeah, potentially quite a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. Okay,
So, sorry, Hall, I don't have a report. My computer was on fritz, so I didn't have access to Word. For South Zion, Cedar Trail was consistent with Saskia's report on mud, like so much mud on Cedar Trail. Especially a lot of runoff, especially as you get past kind of like the top portion of Cedar from the stock ponds and go back down towards the railhead trail. There's a lot of runoff there. When you're on Grand Trunk, there's also quite a bit of mud. It's just very muddy back there, and then consistent with years past, at the stock ponds, between the two ponds, there's just like a ton of mud there. You can see obviously people are going around to avoid it, but there is a lot of mud there. There was a lot of people out yesterday, which was great to see, but a lot of mud. On Dial Detour, there was a tree down across the trail there. So I do have a picture for you, Chris, and a location tag, so I'll show you that afterwards. But otherwise, everything was pretty good. Again, just a lot of mud, a lot of mud in by the ponds there.
I could just add, I went to check this morning to see what the lay of the land was like after the whole weekend of trout fishing. There were a lot of fishers there this morning as well, but remarkably clean. Like, you know, it used to be 2 big garbage bags and more full of stuff, and this time a small shopping bag was all I needed, and people were helping me pick up, so that was really refreshing. Yeah. Mhm.
Just add in as well, Chris, there's another tree down, on. Is it Ganny, where it hits 312, 5 route 312,
310.
310?
The Ganny Transit.
Mhm.
Is that Ganny at that point? Yeah. So it's about, on Gunny Transit, about 500 meters east of 5 route 310.
I think it's been cleared. That one's been cleared. I was out for a ride today and it was gone.
Okay.
But the one on 5 Route 3 is still there.
I was there yesterday afternoon and it was just there.
I think it got cleared.
I was there in the last
Yeah.
12 hours.
Yeah.
Ignore that, Chris.
good, perfect, done.
It's probably the beavers.
Okay, wonderful. Any questions for Saskia or Griffin, or any more comments on trail statuses? Okay, wonderful. I have a motion to accept the trail report, please. John, seconded by Kurt. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, moving on to general business, section 7.1, workday planning. I've got my list here. We've certainly talked about some things. I think the key projects are boardwalk construction on Station Trail. I want to talk about that. Saskia, do you think it's best to bring, because we're gonna have to bring in a lot of materials, including the pressure treated wood and the cement pads.
Mhm.
So we'll utilize wheelbarrows for the cement pads and maybe some of the shorter pieces. You think it's easiest to come in from County Road 10?
I think yes,
Yeah, well,
there is that
There's
cut
less.
through, but but I don't think it's an official thing that we can use. At the end of the dead end street that McGuire, there's that cut through that would probably be the closest by far,
That
but
would be crossing.
yeah.
Yeah, staff would not advise that.
Okay. Then,
yeah, we
yeah,
we talked about expropriating that years ago, didn't we, or?
He's talking.
Yeah, okay, so it's still private property, is it? Okay, yeah. So we could dump the materials sort of in the ditch by the big stones there. At the Station Trail entrance, and then at least it's fairly flat and wide open.
and it's
right?
it's cleaner and straighter, like getting
Oh,
big
yeah.
logs back there is gonna be a lot easier.
Well, especially across those narrow bridges from the mailboxes
Yeah.
by the work yard. Okay. Okay, so, Boardwalk Construction Station Trail, we've got, 106 feet, I think, 80 feet on one side and 16 feet, on the other, right?
Yeah.
So we're building an 8-foot section, so,
If your permit was 15 meters, right?
It was the same numbers on the permit,
So
is
you
what I
got
sent
these
you.
sections. 15 meters required.
for each. 15 meters, only 40 feet,
15
50
meters.
feet. Well, no, because that's.
I had 80 feet on the one side, I know that for sure.
And 16 feet on the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I just got the one picture they attached to it here.
And that was
Yeah, let's see if we can try and pull it up.
that was what was submitted for the permit.
Yeah, so you picture with the two boardwalks, 15 meters required.
So it's 96 feet total. So 12 8-foot sections is what I calculated.
You guys keep talking, I'll try and.
Okay.
try and-
There's a few 8-foot boards that need to be replaced on the boardwalk behind Meds Park. Coming from the library into the park. There's the bridge repair on the first S curve that Saskia mentioned needs to be shored up. The second S curve boardwalk needs replacement, approximately 21 feet. Of that. There's the tree planting. I've had message from the scout leaders in Millbrook that they're planning on sending up to a dozen kids, so that'll be good for tree planting and garbage pickup. There is a bit of garbage pickup that needs to be done specifically around the park since the fishing derby last weekend. But we could expand that out to all trails. Installing new pamphlet boxes, installing there's a couple of signs that need to be installed, and trailhead signs and things that I've built. And mulch spreading, so mulch spreading at the trailhead entrance, the top and bottom trailhead entrance at Meds, as usual, mulch spreading at Fourth Lane Theater. We can discuss mulch spreading at Mexico Court cut through. And Maureen wanted some mulch spreading and some potential cardboard placement around the willow tree at Meds Park. Right? So I talked to Chris this morning about potentially a larger load of mulch at the bottom of Meds, at the bottom of Mexico Trail rather. Have you determined, Chris, whether we'll be able to deliver into the park or?
I've got Public Works is on it, so
Okay.
they'll make the call when they're there.
So if they're not able to deliver, they'll dump it at the end of the distillery, which
Yeah.
means they'll have to truck it in via wheelbarrows. But again, that's a fairly low impact job that a lot of the kids can do, for the younger people. We're gonna get the karate club out again as well, apparently, so hopefully we'll have as good numbers as we did last year, or even better. And mulch spreading at the a bit of mulch spreading at the bridge from the library to Let's Park, sort of behind my house at the new bridge line. It's always gets fairly muddy. That's a lot, obviously, we'll prioritize as we always do based on the numbers we get in the morning. Does anybody have any thoughts or anything I missed or something that's glaring that? John?
It's not glaring, but I could not find the picture I had for how we're supposed to build the boardwalks.
I'll have all that. for us.
I just wondered if you could resend them so that we all see them.
Yeah, we can send them both.
We each bring our own and.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna have printed copies just to keep everybody on my track. But yeah, that's a good idea.
We had, the first boardwalk was 15 feet and the second boardwalk was 80 feet.
Well, I just meant the
I think we
design.
just got to, oh, I know, I was looking this up here. Yeah, that's here. So there's 95 feet boardwalk there.
Okay, well, given that the draft policy, that the policy says we're 8-foot sections, is another foot gonna matter?
Meredith, what do you think? The foot would be
I
all
think an
right.
extra foot is probably-
I think we can squeak it. So, yeah, they did put 15 meters on here, so it's, that's the one boardwalk. I think it's metric imperial
Okay.
thing.
So are you good for where we need, well, first of all, let's discuss. Should we have mulch delivered to Baxter Creek Court? I think it's a good idea, and it's a fairly easy, because they always just dump it right in the actual court. And it's a fairly easy, wheelbarrow ride, it's downhill, and it's pretty easy to spread. And I think, given the amount of young people we'll have, we can spread them out and, we won't need them in a certain area for 3 hours total. Yeah, so agreement there, yeah, okay. So can we add that to the list, Chris, please? All right. So are you, sorry, just, you thinking that'll be done whenever, but prior to Saturday?
Don't think we need it for Saturday, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And you confirmed that we'll have 2 of your team there,
Yeah.
and they could bring wheelbarrows,
Yeah.
as many as you have, and obviously committee members, if you're able to bring wheelbarrows. They're always in short supply because mulch movement is a big deal in workday. I have 2, you've got 1, and we'll see what we've got. And there's still a couple up at the public garden, the public, right by the library.
We have at least 2 out there, I suppose.
Yeah, okay, great. Sorry, you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is in terms of carrying wood from Tupper essentially into where we're going to be using it, will some of the cross pieces be pre-cut before we go?
So yeah, we were talking a bit today and we got a couple of rain days coming up, so I'll have staff frame them up. And we can cut them to 4 feet and then it's just carry them in, put the tops on, just assemble.
And yeah, I could coordinate with you on delivery, those potentially.
Yes, we'll just have them all loaded, right, to build, load down the trailer and then just take them over to Station Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who's got all the hardware?
Chris,
We have,
but me in the next few days, and all the other stuff too. We'll have it all there on the day of, as we always do. So we'll split up in teams. We'll, depending again on the people there, I'll need some experienced builders at Station Trail, but also for the S curve, if we're able to tackle that on Men's Trail, or Baxter Creek Trail, I should say. Any other questions or concerns?
I do have, with regards to smothering the goutweed under the willow tree with the cardboard, which I've been collecting largely from Lance at the Mercantile, just to smother it well and good. It's recommended that it be wet. So can we actually use buckets from the mill pond to wet it? Or it's a long hose that I'd need from Rob's house.
Right, just to soak down the cardboard.
Mhm.
How easy is the access there? I might be a little concerned about
That's pretty good.
slippery.
I mean, you had hundreds
Oh,
of kids and
kids.
children doing it at the Derby. 3
Right,
days
fair
ago.
enough. Yeah, no, you're fine
We
to
can
do
get
that,
a
or you can put it
bucket
out in the
big.
rain. That might also just do it for you. and then-
Yeah, I mean, we may have no choice but to do that, yeah, okay. Mhm.
Okay, I think then the other thing we need to do is pass a motion for food budget for the barbecue. Which I can't do. Those are the we can make a motion to.
Do you know how much the motion should? be?
Well, yeah, I guess that's a good point. So I mean, everything's gone up so much. I don't know, we could just probably have an upset limit of like, I don't know. Say 400. I don't think it'll be that much, but it's better to be over, right?
Yeah, well, I'll make a motion of, or an upset limit of $400 for food on the.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Lance, all in favor? Okay, so I plan to get that Friday afternoon. Yeah, okay, that should be fine. Any other questions, concerns about workday? Any of
Any
these?
just find out on workday kind of like where we're headed to, or are you just gonna kind of?
Yeah, I'll divvy people up when we get there. Is everybody able to come, but you know, no? Yeah, great, okay. Thanks for Maureen for putting up posters and things. It's gone out on social media, the township's got social media. It's out on Hoopla, I think. We've got posters and the email has gone out. To remind people, but I think it's fairly well advertised, so. Right now, I just checked before the meeting, I think it's supposed to be what, 9 or 10 degrees, partly sunny clouds, so kind of perfect. Just hope that all this rain we get over the next few days partially dries up and at least. Where we're gonna be working in Station Trail is fairly well covered, I suppose, but anyway. Okay,
Excuse me, Chair Jackson, to the committee, we just had a review of the expenses, from last year. We're suggesting perhaps that the committee, amend the motion that's been passed, because last year the spending was $449.
449.30
No wonder.
last year.
Yeah, so, our recommendation, maybe go 500, maybe even 550, just to give yourself some budget in case expenses are more than expected.
yeah, that's a good point, yeah, thank you for that. I had it in my mind that it was sort of 340, but I was off, good, thank you. So do we need to rescind that motion or should create a new motion?
Just have a motion to amend the approved upset limit for
Okay.
to be $550 instead.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Seconded by Lance. All in favor? Thank you for that. No,
Sorry, who moved that?
John and second.
Excellent.
Okay, moving on to the next item of the agenda, 7.2, review of current trail master plan.
I have a bunch of solo cups that I haven't used in a little while, so I'll bring those. Just a donation. Are you guys looking to leave the box at all? Or would you?
Yeah, no, we've got a bunch already, but we could always use them. I mean, years ago, I went to Costco and bought like a super fit.
Yeah, me too.
They've lasted us for
Me too. So,
half a decade.
I'm watching, sitting them in my garage each winter. I'm like,
Yeah.
they're in plastic, they're clean and bug free, so.
Okay. we will.
We discussed the master plan a bit last meeting and we had some discussions internally and we thought we'll just go through the current master plan and we'll just go through step by step, and if you have comments, any changes to it, anything you'd like to see, we'll just go through this plan and see where we're at after that. So I think maybe like we can skip probably just skip over to 5 maybe goals and objectives. We can start with goals and objectives and have a little discussion if you had time to review it, if you need any notes or comments, and we can start here and see where you want to go with goals and objectives of the new master plan. Maybe one thing is, how long do you want to see this plan? A 10-year plan, 20-year plan?
there's obviously no provincial regulation.
I don't think there's a provincial regulation, but like 10 is usually like the minimum
Okay,
of a plan.
I think one thing that might make sense is to try to sync this with the 4-year schedule for council. So that at least when the time comes, if you want to do a 16-year plan, and then it'll align with, you have that, we're going into it, and then the next or the latest incantation of what council will be made aware that that'll be like kind of something we have to make a decision on. And if there's anything that would change budget wise for that new council to like kind of approve for the January budget meetings, that all of that is in place, by the last
Right.
council going out. So I think a 16-year plan would make the most sense, or a 12-year plan.
well, I guess timing wise, we'll get a new council late this year. What's the timing, Chris, for putting this out to tender and the expectation, if there is any yet, of having it put in the hands?
Budget begins in September, so we'll be starting budgeting in September.
Just to the committee, in terms of doing a renewal, I think it is actually a good consideration to think about the council years. My advice would be, I don't mean to disagree with you, Councilor Mashoff. I think setting the expiry for the first year of the new council term would make sense, because you have a new council with a new mandate that can kind of decide the plan, rather than have the outgoing council approve the plan that the new council would not have support for. So I think if we don't have to set a date right now, but if you have an estimate, we can set it so that the expiry is for the first year of the new council term.
Okay, but my question was more around
How long is it?
when do you expect to have the actual document in your hands, or do you have an expectation of that yet?
So what we're doing here is trying to come up with a scope that we can provide to get pricing on for beginning of budget, September budget talks.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So we
then
want to get some quotes before September.
before September.
So we're looking to be able to provide a scope. Like, we're not looking to have a whole master plan here. We're looking to see what you want to see in a master plan, to be able to provide a scope, to be able to price. So we need like bullet points. We need, okay, under goals and objectives, we need some bullet points. How long is it gonna be? Do you wanna commit to maintaining existing trails? Do you wanna ensure the enjoyment of trails? So we kind of need a list for each bullet point, how you wanna set up the master plan and what you wanna see in the master plan.
John?
So I think there's been some questions, like when we were talking about trying to establish new trails. If it wasn't in the plan, then it kind of was off the boards, but at the same time, I think that the wording here was kind of good. In one place that I saw it, that it would reflect what the committees are seeing at the time. And like, this plan, I think, was for 10 years, and it's been around on a little bit longer than that. And like some of the, I think my experience has been that some of the goals and objectives were beyond the scope of what this committee could do, and it reflects part of it, I think, is a change in attitudes at the provincial government, and that's had an effect on budgets at the township level. But I do think that it's fair for the committee to be suggesting we would like to see something like the loop. And it's fair for council to say, well, that's nice, but we can't afford the loop. What else you got? And so I'm not sure how you build that flexibility into it. It turned out to me that a lot of the goals that were set in here were well beyond the scope of what this committee ever could have accomplished. And that's not a reflection on the people who have been part of the committee, since before I joined. They accomplished a lot. So I'm not sure whether, in one sense, the recommendations that were in here you know, about scenic routes and those sorts of things. They were a great idea, but they were certainly beyond our scope to carry out with the resources we have. But I do really like this concept of preserving the natural capital. And I think if we were to look at one of the proposed trails as it looks today, the unopened road allowance on Fallout line between here is not exactly the trail that that was imagined in 2010 or 2005 when the ideas were being developed. So anyway, yeah. I guess I've kind of rambled there for a while, but I see you've got your hand up, so I'll defer.
I do have my hand up. I do almost feel that we need to defer this again, just because it's just a huge almost mindset change that it occurred when development started, right? Burgeoning development started here. And some of the dreams that we had here in the original document kind of evaporated when it became clear that everything was going to be at both the provincial and the municipal level very pro-development. So that corridor, that natural corridor that we could have used as a trail evaporates. And I understand that to the extent that provincial law, you know, dictates municipal law, we don't have the leeway or we don't really have the ability to information gather enough about what is possible to preserve, because everything is so devoted to what the developers need. So this is a personal opinion, but it just makes it really, really hard to think of a scope when you're dealing with people. Most of us here see undeveloped land as a gem, right? And we never get to sit down with the planners and say what in reality is available to us to develop, and how can we recruit help in the way of grants to develop this area, and how much buy-in do we have from the municipality and staff to help make these new plans a reality. I'm very grateful personally for the support that we've had from staff in preserving everything we've done and improving everything we've done. But scope is really hard to imagine.
So you're suggesting we defer this discussion?
I'm of two minds. I don't know what good deferment will do, because I'm not sure how we'll ever get closer to what we want. In the way of a bullet point document to give to whoever it is that takes on the contract to develop the trail master plan.
Right, so through you, Chair. So look, a 2.1, I agree with what you're saying, and maybe what we might look at doing is putting in some type of like, not to committee upon committee upon committee, but have some kind of meeting then of what we can call is like a preservation or conservancy arm of this trail committee. We meet with the planners, we put together a wish list of something. Once that's kind of negotiated and have some kind of buy-in from that, we can ingrain that in the document itself and have it as like kind of a working, where we can at least have it as a guidepost for the trail committee. And then from there, which we don't currently have, I think that kind of adds to the preservation of natural capital like John was speaking to. That being said, to like, help out my good friend Chris here, I think his hope was maybe today we could walk away from maybe looking at these 6 points and saying, is there any one of these 6 goals or objectives that we're looking at that nobody's not in agreement of? Having read those, like, I think those hit upon everything that speaks to what this committee is about. And then do we want to add to that or that? But at least I think that gives you guys a sense that we're, you know, like, trust me, I can procrastinate with the best of them. And I always would err on the side of getting more information than not, but I think we need to have a little bit of momentum going in this so that if we can come away with each meeting, that we have something to say, this is, you know, they can report back, oh, they, you know, they only did one portion of that, and that was our goal going in this meeting, that like, we're not gonna try to take on too much in one, we just wanna get through this one thing during this meeting. And then we allocate ourselves 45 minutes or whatever the portion of the meeting that goes to meeting that. And in some cases, it may not take trail users. I think we can all kind of agree on trail users, that doesn't really change too much. Benefits look really solid from there. Priorities obviously will change, timelines will change, but I just think like, it's one of those, like, if we just kind of need to get a little bit of like the rock at the top of the hill.
I think we're digging into it too deep, like all the information on trails, like you're talking about the loop trail, all that's a consultant's job. So what we're looking for is more, you wanna see more hiking trails, you wanna see more natural trails, you wanna see accessible paved trails, you wanna see, it's more what you wanna see, and consultant does all the background work. The consultant's gonna look through all the subdivision plans, he's gonna look through all the strategies we have, they'll go through everything and they'll recommend, okay, your loop. So it'll be public consultation, it'll be consultation with the committee, it all goes through a process. And everybody has their input on it, so it might say, yeah, hey, the loop is a viable trail, or they might say, we've got a better option over here. This is a more viable place to put a new trail. So all we're looking for is, like, with goals and objectives, is what do you want to see out of it? Do you want to see more hiking trails? Do you want to see more natural trails? Do you want to see stuff like that, right? So we just want,
Sideways.
what you want to see, all the new trails, all the digging and everything in here, that's a consultant's job. So he's gonna do all the information, bring the information forward, bring it to council, bring it to stakeholders, bring it to the public, and here's what we got, here's what people want to see. This is what we're gonna come up with.
Thanks, ask you.
No, go for it.
Okay, I think one of the things that, this maybe not laid out as clearly here, and again, I'm a little, maybe, uneducated on like the planning for the new subdivisions and all that, but obviously 2010, we were not as developed here as we are now, and we were not developing as much as we are now. I think that one of the key things that we should be considering is, how to like properly integrate those new developments into the existing trail network so that people can walk from all of these new developments without having to go onto the road down to downtown Millbrook. Like, I live out near Fort Line Theater, and I love the fact that I can get to downtown Millbrook through only the trails. And so I don't think it's necessarily like the language here is like as pointed towards just like true integration and having these trails be a network that you can get all across Millbrook throughout the trails. So that would be one of my things, just like, yeah, integrating into all of these new developments in a way that keeps it so people can get across the landscape using just trails rather than roads.
So I would add that, so ask you.
So based on Chris's suggestion last meeting, I took it upon myself to kind of draw up what I thought was a starting point. From my point of view, I feel like our purpose is divided into two things. There's maintenance of the existing trails and creating new trails. And I viewed everything to me that suggested can be divided into those two things. And that's just how my brain works. And then to John's point, I think one thing with the master plan when I went through it initially is there's a lot of focus on driving trails and things like that. And I think we can easily define being like, we don't want to do that. We want to focus on walking trails. That would be a good starting point and just be very general and overview. And just to share kind of what I was imagining as far as expansion on the trail system, I wrote, find opportunities to identify priorities for trail expansion, which prioritize, and then we can do what we want to prioritize. So increased accessibility, connecting the community, preserving the heritage of Monaghan, involving the community, preserving the natural capital. Those kind of things we can put as a sub priority within, because I think they just need a generic starting point from us, and so these would be how I visualize that. But please correct me.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
And then
No,
same with
exactly.
maintaining the trail system. I have created an infrastructure catalog with the approximate build dates in order to better identify long-term timelines for major development. Define major area of concerns within the changing ecosystems that need to be addressed. So areas that have over time become very boggy, things like that. And minor adjustments to trails that could avoid natural limitations in the current trail system. So for me, those were just the first points that came to my mind. I thought I'd write them down because that's what I think we're being asked to do is a very general overview to hand off to the consultants to start being like, okay, they want to prioritize these things in the trails. They want to connect the community. Let's look at areas. How can we connect them? That's what I think is being asked of us. And so I don't want to be stepping on toes, but that's where I started it. And that's kind of what I'm thinking we should focus on, is just really general. We don't need to get into specific communities, specific areas, just a general overview is my understanding.
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So why don't we submit what Saskia's doing?
Like what she said. Yeah.
Let's see, it won't take 45 minutes either. Mr. Chairman, from item 6, which I see goes beyond goals, but it would come along next, and I'd like to tie it into Saskia's. With the other document we got that I couldn't find, I had taken the words Millbrook Valley Trails and the Millbrook Walking Trails are a non-motorized trail system reflecting the township's unique setting and natural heritage. It's a little different from the trail users as described in number 6 here, but if we can work that into the definition of the Millbrook Valley Trails, it implies the walking. And the other reference, I'm not sure what this is on this page, but somewhere there was a reference to accessibility. And I know we have an issue with some of our trails are not accessible, but some of them are. And so having said that they'd be non-motorized trail system, we could allow something to reflect the electric assist for wheelchairs and those sorts of things. Because I think it's worth incorporating that as part of it where it can be incorporated. It can't be everywhere. I do have a friend who uses a wheelchair, and I'm pretty sure he could get over at the Annie Transit, but and he's not electric assist either. But you know, I think the province would require we are consistent with their legislation, which talks about accessibility, and I think we should make that a positive thing as opposed to a negative thing.
To the committee, sorry, to John through the chair, just because I've had to go through the technical stuff, the accessibility regulations. So specifically in the OREG that deals with wilderness trails and external pathways, the wilderness trails are not subject to any accessibility regulations whatsoever, partially because there's either risks with impacting the natural heritage or stuff like that. If the committee wants to make the trails more accessible, definitely the township welcomes that, and we could even bring in the advisory committee on that. I just want to be clear, there's no standards, and there are going to be some difficulties in with removing impacting the natural environment that Orca, I don't want to speak for you, Meredith might have comments on, but definitely it's something. Station Trail, the part that goes that's not paved would be subject to accessibility regulations, I believe. There's some vagueness in definitions there, but the rest of the trails and the kind of not paved part of the Station Trail would not be subject to it.
Why is that?
Insurance and liability,
Because
you're taking risk.
Yeah, it's also to meet accessibility standards. You need a smooth surface that's of a certain quality, but that's stable.
It's just because how it is, not because it's connecting an area of the community.
Yeah,
That's fine. It's a wilderness.
Oh,
it's
okay.
classified as the wilderness
Yeah.
trail.
Yeah.
There's
Whereas Station Trail, where it's limestone, that's
different.
Okay.
But in terms of where we're linking the new subdivisions and things with your reference, I believe both trails, they're accessible at this point that come down as far as Station Trail. And
yeah,
so somehow we could incorporate that. Most of. I guess I'm a bit, I'm not sure what the word would be, but when we were trying to discuss the new subdivision to the west, it was made pretty clear to us that those trails would be designed by the subdivision people, or located and designed or whatever. I'm not sure who all was around the table at that point, quite a few of us, I guess. But the upside of that is those trails are definitely accessible, which is good. Now, whether we could, you know, there are some places where there's, in the olden days, they call them hazard lands that could be more wild, what's the term?
Wilderness trails.
They could be sort of wilderness, but nonetheless.
So it would just be like to see the expansion and creation of both more accessible trails and wilderness trails, so it covers both sides, right?
Which is, in such a way that, the communities are more integrated and more accessible to, not the word accessible, more, encouraging pedestrian ambulation between communities, you know, so that, people are moving back and forth between the subdivisions and downtown.
There are ways that the committee could make some of the wilderness trails more accessible, not like wheelchair accessible, but you could put rest areas and stuff like that in them. So if somebody's elderly or has a disability, that would make it a little bit more tiring to traverse, and they have an area to sit down for a second. So if the committee does desire this, Chris, that we can make a language amendment and stuff.
Something we have in common. I was on an accessibility committee at one point, and they warned me that as I got older, I would appreciate all the things. I'm beginning to
Pecuniary interest there?
No, I don't think it goes that far, but I am beginning to see, you know, like, you know, accessibility is not a bad thing, despite the fact that one time it was portrayed as very expensive, and it's good to see it.
I just want to commend Saskia, that was excellent. You summated things really smart, so I think we have the simple preservation and creation, and it's like it straddles both sides of both past and future, so you know, it gives you guys, I think I saw both of you smile when she started talking, so that was a positive. Like, oh, they're getting it and they're actually going with it, so, yeah.
Okay, so do we wanna, then, I'm just conscious of time, do we wanna sort of take what Saskia?
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
If I were to send this out to everyone, and for next meeting, everyone has their list of what they view should be our priorities as far as looking at expanding the trails and then also the maintenance of the trails, then we can decide which ones we want to present forward to next meeting, and also figure out the wording. I'm not a flowery wording person, and this is very beautifully written, so we can decide our wording and kind of make that a priority for the next meeting, and then have our trails objectives that everyone agrees upon there. Is that appropriate?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, sorry, I'm gonna be the procedural person for a second. Totally fine with this approach. I just want to be clear. You can send it out by email. Do not substantially discuss the stuff by email. So I would say bring your comments based on what Saskia said. You can talk to each other individually, not as a group. And the committee can finalize a submission at the next meeting. Saskia, if you give me something, I might include it in the draft of the agenda, because the committee would be discussing at the next meeting. Are you fine with that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
John?
I'm good, yeah, that's
So
online here.
I don't process as fast as you read, that's fine, I don't have to hear it all. But one of the things that I jotted down was flexible guidance versus comprehensive guidance. And I don't know whether whether that was in there, or whether we even need to be concerned about it. But it was one of somewhere in there it talked about flexible guidance as opposed to.
Maintaining, no.
Yeah, well, it's right up there, second paragraph.
It's first sentence of the second.
Yeah, or point one as well.
Like, do we have thoughts on that? Like, I think from my standpoint as a committee member, I think there should be some flexibility in our ability to suggest trails and that sort of thing. We don't wanna. Or do we just want a prescriptive thing that says you guys can fix things and you can do that, but we're like,
Through you, Chair, just, I think by virtue of what we're doing, I think we have to have some form of flexibility in there and we should write it in there because the reality is. With the maintenance, for example, I wrote in that we would create a way to identify for long-term projects, but. We might have something wash out a whole different section. We have to switch our priorities up. So I think especially if we're gonna have our priorities in the trail system, the way this previous one was in the trail document. Then I think flexibility is, we're gonna have to, put something in there just by virtue of the work we're doing.
And that could be something that you put in there and then the consultant might say, we'll go with like a strategic plan instead of a master plan. So a strategic plan, you got more wiggle room. So this property sells or something, okay, it's off, we can move on to the next one. We're not going boom, boom, boom. We gotta follow what's listed, right? You got a little more freedom to move around within it.
sorry, I heard yes.
Yeah.
I was just looking for something else and
Just think how much what we do on the trails has changed since all the weather shifting has happened, all the climate change stuff has started.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
In the last
if your
5 years,
maintenance,
it's
Trump said there's no such
amazing.
thing as climate
Yeah.
change, so I'm not buying what you're selling.
yeah, in your maintenance part of it, you wanna list everything in your maintenance, list all your boardwalks and all that, and maybe there is some climate issues that have come up where you're gonna need more boardwalks in one area, or maybe you don't need them anymore, it's dried right up, or we do have really aged infrastructure out there, which is a lot is in need of replacement.
Mhm.
And it'd be nice to have it prioritized, okay, this area, this year, this area, this year.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Maybe we
need,
can
you're gonna
include,
need this much capital, like that's all stuff that'll come in there. If they prioritize, you want them to prioritize how much money each year, and then you got something to go with, right? You know,
maybe we can include when we're doing our inventory and lifespan of like trying to adapt some kind of ARR. That is included when we present our like end of the year where it's like, okay, we're mindful that, during this 4-year term, this is gonna have to be replaced. We're going to be asking you, maybe not this year, but next year for like $70,000.
yeah,
The council,
yeah.
and then at least they're like, it's not such a, the staff and council can prepare for, okay, if we're going to sell an increase. And say it's an election year, like, not that I would use that in that my end of things, but it's like. You could kind of temper the expectations of taxpayers and ratepayers that if you're enjoying this is one of the decisions that's being made to further the community. And we can try to see where we can leverage the.
Yeah, so if we got like the light cycle of
Yeah.
the infrastructure out there, then we have the backing,
Like,
right?
you
We
know,
have-
but not necessarily staff's aware that like. I don't know if Nels is walking the boardwalks every year to know that, oh, this needs to be replaced, and you can appreciate that this is gonna be a $30,000 project and kind of thing, so.
So it'd be like as per our master
Yeah,
plan.
we can
section,
include an AR.
this section of Baxter Creek is due between
Yeah.
this year, we're coming forward.
Yeah,
looking
and then
for
it's not a surprise as well, if any incantations of what this committee looks like, you can go, okay, expectations are 10 years from now, we need a massive. Like major projects, and this year there's no major projects, so.
so I guess this is a question for Chris. I have a memory of working on some bridges, but I couldn't tell you what year they were put in. And I guess that's what you're referring to.
But
So
you can kind of, you're a knowledgeable and building kind of guy, you could look and go, I think we're gonna get 3 more years out of this,
but I think it would help
totally.
if as you were using the term inventory, I'm thinking, okay, can we go back and actually record?
Yeah, that would be great.
Record some of those things and then it will be in a report, but I don't know.
Yeah, a lot.
What should we get, an updated work plan with every year? There's a list of the bridges that were done this year and all the way back. to-
I think if it's in this plan, like they take an inventory of all the bridges that are on the trail system, all the boardwalks, and we get as much history as we could on them. Even if you don't remember, there's probably something somewhere, an invoice or a report that we can pull
Yeah.
and find the date on it. Cause there's not a lot out there and we do have documentation on most of them, so. I think,
always
we
trying to
find
fit all
the
of it.
timeline, yeah, and we know, okay, this bridge is good for 20 years, so when 20 years is up, it's gonna be replaced, at this, so it's the same as any asset within the
Yeah.
township. We have our timelines on it, and it's got a shelf life of 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, this is what it's gonna cost.
Like we
when it
treat
does
this
come
a
out.
little bit more like a business, or, like a bigger business kind of thing, so.
So it's
So it's just asset
not to
management. of
point the
trails,
finger,
that's
but
all it
like-
is, right?
do you somewhere, if somebody came along and said to the next person in this seat, what year was the bridge built? Like, we all know that the new floating bridge was put in last year or 2 years ago.
2022, I think it was,
Yeah.
2023.
So where would you find that in a hurry as opposed to,
Kimberly.
okay,
I will say from a records perspective, John, we've done a vast amount to improve our records. So going forward, we're not worried about it, and we have what we have now in the past, and a lot of stuff is digitized. There's a couple of go-to places I would go off the top of my head. Old committee minutes would have some projects or recorded, or and I'd have some permit records also for the boardwalks and bridges. That's kind of our two go-to points if we needed to. I wouldn't worry about the nuts and bolts of that, but I will say definitely there's a value added place in doing an ARR approach to trail assets, just so council also has an understanding of what the expected amounts is, and we can set the standard of maintenance. For what is expected to be maintained, what the level is, basically.
so that's going into your notes, so I can forget about it and not worry about it anymore.
You don't have to worry about it. So,
Okay.
these were capital projects, so they're in the asset management, so
Yeah.
they're all listed in there right now. Yeah, and so it's got its the life on it, it's got the depreciation, and it shows what it's gonna cost when it comes to.
From before.
Okay,
Okay.
So I was just gonna say, so taking what the suggestion was from Saskia, I think we'll come back next meeting with what it is. We don't need to make a motion for that.
No, I don't think so. Saskia, I've been in a previous committee meeting most of the day. Was I CC'd in on anything you circulated?
On my trail report, but I didn't have this on it.
No, yeah, can you shoot that to me by email, or if you want to tweak it, please do it, and then I'll circulate it. I'll figure out how we're gonna circulate this to the committee, and just please avoid commenting on it in any substantial way until we get to next. We're good to go.
Okay, great.
Sorry, for a person like me, if you could include that with the agenda when you send it out,
Oh, yes, that is 100% my intent.
then
So,
I would remember, because if I read it tomorrow
Yeah.
and come back in a month, well,
I think it absolutely will be included in the addenda or a version of it, just so that you can be discussed in the meeting, so this should be.
Okay, great. Okay, move on to work plan, or 7.3. Okay, number one, ongoing, number two. This is still ongoing, I haven't heard anything. Great. Number three. What relates to number one, that's ongoing. Number four, GIS mapping, any update, Chris?
No, so if we wanna get out when the trails get a little nicer and get all our pictures in any writing, then we can start jumping on that.
Okay. Number five,
nothing further.
nothing further, okay,
Number four for the mapping and pictures and stuff, that doesn't all have to happen during one of our meetings here, right?
No, we just need,
Okay,
so. We went through the mapping,
Yeah, yeah.
maps are all there, we just gotta,
Sure, I'm just,
Just gotta make the app a
I'll make
little-
my patio
a
available.
little more
Someone
attractive.
wants to come down with, I can pull my laptop and we can cherry pick some stuff, I'm happy to write content and copy if anyone wants that, just to keep it moving along as well, so. If you wanna, like, maybe we can get like a shared folder or something, that everything gets sent to Mark, and then I can sit down and we can pick whoever wants, so like, you gotta cherry pick your 10 favorite pictures each of you send me, and then we can put through from there. And
have
then-
you submitted any photos, Kirk?
No, not. Is there a list of what we need photos of, like?
No, just,
It could be anything.
And then we
Could
took
be
pictures
landmarks
of, like the
or-
car, took pictures of the car,
Okay.
signage. So, yeah, I think it'd be, we were out, it wasn't all that nice out, I think now
Yeah,
the stuff
that's
starting to bloom might be the best time, so we take a picture of the sign, so. And then they know where the sign is, the entrance to the trail, we took a picture of benches out there, benches.
Just some more
here.
general photos.
Yeah, so when you're walking along, you know, okay, here's the bench.
Yep.
It's right here, it's saying, I got a bench coming up around the corner, so.
Couple words.
Just all that kind of stuff, and then like nice nature pictures to add in, and stuff like that, so. But we need a lot of the, like the main points, like the signage, the start of the trail, the benches, the. Access points,
Yeah,
like,
but also
features.
nature photography and remarkable landmarks.
Mhm.
Really.
It would be good to have a functional references because GPSs don't tend to be terribly accurate. So you know exactly where you are,
Yeah.
even if your GPS says you're 100 meters.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to be in there, cause you take the picture, it's right there.
Yeah.
Slowed it up, but we can add pictures in.
Is there a formats specific that you need for the photos, like, or just a regular JPEG?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Is it better to have them landscape or portrait?
I think it matters.
Okay.
No, we were taking both of there.
I think you did a bit of both.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I think it's fine, yeah, good question though.
Okay, moving on to number 6. That's on hold. Updated signage and brochures. We're gonna maybe change that to December 2026. Kind of waiting to see sort of a new trails, etc. So I think we'll know where we are with that, so we can get moving on that again. Number 8 is on hold. Number 9 is essentially complete. We don't need to put, I mean, that, the design of Bentley's and Vegas Spencer's is done. Build. Right. Number 10, management of invasive species. Do we have anything on that yet, or is it a bit too early?
The DSV hasn't emerged yet, but John and I are on trail report this month, so we'll be seeing it.
Okay.
Looking up to.
So maybe we'll add that to the next meeting discussion as for the next item. Number 11's ongoing, trying to find out dates, etc. and when that would work, and number 12 is ongoing. I mean, we're well, I mean, we'll have number 12 specifically done by next meeting, because it's part of the workday project. As the permit closes October 2026. Any questions, additions?
So with number 11 here, you got permission, and we have the wording, right?
Yep,
Just
trying to work with the number to find a good time.
okay, can you just fire us off an email that you got permission from them, just so we have the written? And the pamphlet, they're done? Pamphlet.
Well, the design is certainly done. The design was done last year. Yeah, they're done for the most part in terms of construction.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping to put,
You got something for this weekend?
yeah, it's on the list, yeah. Okay, any questions around work plan? Do
I
we
suppose
need-
for the pamphlet and bag dispensers, do we have locations for all of those, or are they just going at signs?
Yeah, we got locations.
Yeah.
I mean, there's basically locations where they.
Where they are, yeah.
There's a couple of new places I have a list.
Okay.
But I mean, 2 or 3 new locations. I think there's a total of 32 or 34, I forget, but it's up there. With, of course, you know, we can build more as we do when, like new trails come online and things, or new locations are identified.
You're gonna need new pamphlets, how many pamphlets?
Hmm?
You're gonna need more pamphlets.
Yeah, that's number 7.
Yeah.
Signage and brochures, yeah.
Do you have enough, like, to put, for what you're putting up this weekend though? Just so we're not putting up empty boxes.
No, we don't have pamphlets yet. We need to pass that, we need to pass that as a motion to.
Shall we do that? How many do you think?
We do an upset limit? Okay, so yes, you wanna make a motion, I haven't looked at printing costs lately.
Did we print them through us last time or?
No, it's always, we've done it through Vistaprint online.
So is there any change since it was last printed? Are we going with the same thing?
Yeah, there were some minor tweaks that were done, yeah.
Okay, shall we just ask them, could we do a motion on asking them for a mock-up first?
Sure, I can send a mock-up back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
With the mock-up was, we did that last year, we did the mock-up and then we made our comments.
right, we did.
Yeah, so we can confirm all those, but, I don't know, do we wanna do that before printing?
So I think we'll have to review it before
Yeah.
printing,
I was gonna say,
if there's changes to it.
Yeah.
we would wanna make sure our own materials on the township website and everything, align with the pamphlet also, so. Yeah, I think if you could, circulate, to us what you've heard at, so staff can, look at it and then we can,
Okay.
forward
Yeah.
printing.
And then, yeah,
I'd
we
be,
could, we use Vistaprint, so we can help with that and get it moving. Just, need to see the draft and.
Yeah, we've always used
Confirm that it's.
Okay.
But you have material and supplies, so to set up, set limit to print brochures and then we can at least when it's good to go, print.
Yeah, we were waiting on the new map from the brochures to be ready to be able to print new trailhead maps, right?
Yeah.
And then the $250 estimated, we'll have to revisit that, I suppose, to see if that pricing has changed. When we priced it in late 2025, it was.
For the sign posts.
Right, cause we wanna put signs up, at the library, right, stuff like that, and then also at, Elgar.
Yeah.
Okay. And then possibly switch out existing signs depending on budget and need and things, right?
To the committee, just because I think there is kind of a value add in having, new brochures sooner rather than later, yeah, regardless of any the pamphlet owners. I think even at the township office, we have residents that come in asking for brochures of the trails. I just printed something off based on our image on the website, on the township website for a resident recently. I would recommend maybe if anybody has off the top of their head how much the estimate was for the printing last time to approve an upset limit, and maybe if we can get them printed.
Yeah,
For work, that would be a good idea.
so we can just review and send them in, print them
Yeah.
and get them back.
This is not my area of expertise, so I don't wanna float a number, but
I have no idea what that, looking at that.
even if it's not ready for work day, I think it's good to have them on hand.
Yeah, it won't be for work day, but usually they have a pretty good turnaround.
okay.
Um,
I use commercial press out of Peterborough, I'm not sure if you, like Vistaprint's an American corporation, right? I know it's probably the cheaper of the options, but. I'm happy if you guys want, I have to go and pick up some menus that I'm getting printed, I can bring a copy of that, at least get a quote for you guys to see what it would be.
Sure.
And then at least on that end, we can always just get it that day, and they can just run off a run of whatever number we need after the fact, so.
yeah, I think if you just set an upset limit now.
Yeah,
like,
so
the funds are
I'll put a
there.
motion to set an upset limit of 350, since the last one was 250. Inflation and
$50 or.
Well, this
rims?
previous one said $250, so you want me to just? say
Oh, that's for,
350?
that's the frame for the.
Oh, sorry, oh, okay.
Yeah,
No, I'm just trying to see if
Yeah.
I've got an invoice from the last time we printed. We printed two from Vistaprint to see sort of how much they were in for how, cause it's the more you print, the cheaper.
The cheaper it
gets.
is, yeah, you get like usually it's 250, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. Is that kind of?
yeah, like you could do $500, you can do $1,000,
Yeah.
if you don't spend that, it doesn't matter, but if you get it high enough that you know we're gonna cover it, and
Yeah,
but even if you set an upset limit of 1,000, like there's $4,500, $4,300.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't spend it, you just
Yeah.
use it on something else, right? At least.
Apologies, I know we're nearly done by.
Just a quick look for about 750 of Vistaprint is $100. So if we set an upset limit of like 200 just to be safe, I don't know.
Brochures?
Yeah.
No,
No,
no, that's way too cheap.
those are the rack cards.
Yeah. Cause ours is trifold, double sided.
Double sided printed. the
It gets
thicker
more
gauge paper. $100
Here we
for
go.
750.
Good lord, we ordered that many, didn't we? So for 1,500 brochures was $642.
Roughly how long did those 1,500 last? Like, when was that order placed?
We've been without brochures for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Why don't you do 750 for now, and if you don't go that high, you don't go that high.
In 1,500 block.
Yeah,
second Chris.
I'll make the upset limit of $750.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, great.
I'll get a quote for you guys tomorrow because I need to pick up my menu, so.
Do you have one of those old trifold the old trifold ones?
I think that there's one in the foyer. I could just take it as an example.
And please send us a copy of anything that you're and maybe just so staff can have a look at it. We might have some we don't.
Okay, I'll give it back to you.
I'm not sure if that.
It just gives them a jumping off size, paper thickness.
Your logo is changed on it.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Yes.
You read that, have a copy.
I think that might be the previous version.
Okay.
The size it wouldn't change stuff, so.
Okay, do we need a motion?
Oh, okay.
Mark, to accept the work plan?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to accept the work plan?
No, definitely.
Seconded by Saskia, all in favor? Thank you. Okay. So items for next meeting, I would like to include discussion around spraying. And an item for discussions around priorities for new boardwalk and boardwalk replacement along Baxter Creek Trail past the Floating Bridge.
I think those of us who have been around a while, if we could cast our minds back and try to get a date pinned on each boardwalk and each bridge that we haven't recently addressed. Just in case it's harder for you guys to find the history. If it hasn't been digitized, it might be harder for you to find. Just to get the inventory going in our heads.
Yeah,
Mhm.
staff can definitely
So with
get
that,
that.
yeah.
So just one thing that I don't think it would be to add it for next week, but I'm myself, Dave Leonardson from Millbrook Fit, Nicole, the new lady that opened the yoga studio above Community Care, and Vanessa's mom from the Rethink Hair. We've taken on the responsibility of organizing and running the fall festival this year for the BIA. So we had our first meeting this week. We had like lots of cool ideas. The theme is going to be harvest and ag related. We were going to potentially maybe bring it back to the zucchini festival. It's on Saturday, October the 3rd. So if you were thinking conceivably, we'd like to extend an invitation to the MBT if they would want to participate in any way, if you wanted a booth or if you wanted to do something. I was thinking you were talking potential fall work day. That might be an option, and then everyone can come afterward and we could host the barbecue, somewhere in the downtown, if that,
Okay.
something to think about. So I
Yeah.
wanted to put it out there to.
Well,
invite-
I think after Saturday, we'll have a good idea of
Yeah,
what.
but if
Let's
it's not a
do it,
fall
let's
work
still
day,
be
we still
done.
would like to invite you to you guys, if you wanted to, whatever you might like to do, just to extend it out there, because it kind of fall and the trails and everything, so. I'll have a more report of where we are, entertainment and all that kind of stuff as well, so if there's something you guys might think that might be a good fit, we'd like to have you join us.
To the committee for the chair, just, can we add a formal motion to add the two items that are requested to the next meeting? I believe we discussed them, but we didn't have a motion.
You recorded them?
Yes, priorities for boardwalk replacement on Baxter Creek and any other shows, and invasive species management is what I'm calling.
Priorities for boardwalk replacement and new boardwalk creation.
Got a motion for that, Saskia, seconded by Dave. All in favor? Thank you very much. Can I, any other questions, concerns, any new items? Get all on Saturday. I have a motion to adjourn. John, seconded by Lance, in favor. Thank you very much for your time, and yes, I'll see you Saturday. Everybody has any problems, questions, thoughts? Give me a call, give me an email.